Another thing that's super important is to never go in with expectations that you will be acknowledged by your family for what you're doing, for your talents, your gifts. This is often what creates the most painful experience, is people are still stuck in trying to seek approval from their family members. It's very important when you go for holidays that you make sure you take some time before you're going to sleep at night or first thing in the morning where you wake up, where you really notice any kind of little achy holes in yourself that's wishing you could have something, some kind of acknowledgement or appreciation. And you allow your divine to do that for you. Allow them just to bathe you in all the different ways you would love to hear that you are seen and appreciated by your family, so that once you do get up and go out to see them, you're not this big empty hole that needs filling.
Welcome to Becoming Awesome with Tracy J, channeling her sacred higher self.
Hello, I'm Tracy J. Thank you for joining me on the Becoming Awesome channel. Today's topic is going to be changing holiday hell into holiday heaven. So the first thing I want to say is that title totally overpromises. There's no way one session is going to do that for those who have super challenging families. However, we can make progress. So the first thing I want to say is that this is not an encouragement for those of you who have truly abusive families to go and spend holidays with them. If that is your situation, I would genuinely encourage you to find tribe and to spend time with them instead. But if you have a normal family where you are triggering to each other in some ways, and the holidays can bring out a lot of stress for a lot of people, and yet you still want to touch base, to be with them and stuff like that, this message is more for you. So, I have finally given myself permission to sometimes use notes rather than feeling like I have to do this all off the top of my head. But, so the first thing I want to emphasize is that if you are making that choice to go and be with them anyway, this is because you are in a higher state of consciousness. If you are showing up on this channel and looking for ways to improve your family situation, this is just a little piece of evidence for you to take as it is up to me. And there may be others who join in, but you will be the initiator of trying to shift the energy of your family. And this is a beautiful thing. So in a previous channel, I discussed not being in opposition, and this is super important during the holidays. So today I'm going to be going through a bunch of examples that I thought of, and this is part, many of you may not know this, but I also have a master's in counseling, and so I have worked with people around difficult situations. So this will not be just a pure channel with my sacred higher self, but I did sit with my sacred higher self before this to come up with like common examples, or hopefully examples that will help you trigger knowing how to respond differently rather than react to family members. We are encouraging you to find a way to be both honoring of yourself and honoring of them. One of the best phrases I learned when I went to Oneness University was, given their level of consciousness, it was the best they could do. Really let that sink in for a moment. Oftentimes we are wanting something from others, asking them to be at a higher level of consciousness than they can be. We each get there in their own time. So keeping that in mind before you go back to family can be really useful, and also reversing it, right? You all have developed these patterns, these ways of re-triggering each other together, and you are also responsible. And given your level of consciousness, it was the best you could do. I really encourage you to practice ahead of time, thinking about the most common triggering experiences that happen to you when you are back with family, and practicing, how am I going to respond differently this time? Once you are there and those feelings come up and you are triggered, it is way too difficult to, in that moment, think of how to be different. You need to do that ahead of time. So let's say that in your family, you have someone triggers you around your looks at some level. Okay, so this may include comments like, "Ooh, that hairstyle really does nothing for you," or "Looks like you got those clothes out of a dumpster," right? Both pretty negative things to handle. But look for, what is it that they value that's kind of beneath those kind of comments? Okay, so in this case, it's someone who has a high value for appearance, for showing up looking good. This is something they genuinely believe that is important and that everyone should do for each other. Okay, so first you're going to acknowledge their value. I know you put a high value on looks, but I don't judge myself that way. I feel comfortable as I am. Okay, so nothing about making their value wrong or anything like that. Just responding that you have this value and here's how I feel about myself. Okay, not any trying to add in or make them wrong for having that value, simply acknowledging it and then acknowledging how you feel. Another common area is in that of achievements. Okay, so maybe you are greeted with, "Hey, have you managed to get a better job yet?" Now, it's very important as you're doing this that it be authentic, right? So if you are actually already happy for your job and not looking for one, you may want to respond with something like that. "I know you don't see my job as good enough for me, but I'm actually happy there." Simple, honest truth about where you're at. Let's say you are also looking for a job. Maybe not out of any idea that the job isn't good enough for you, but just that you would like to have more income, more comfort and ease around that. And so maybe you would simply say, and also I want to remind you, humor is always best. If you can say this lightly with any kind of laughter, any of these things, it always helps ease situations. I could say, "Yeah, I'm still looking. I'm getting to learn a lot about patience as I apply for jobs. Each interview I do, I get better at expressing my skills, and I know I'll find one that suits me." Now, listen carefully to this last part. "I just wish I had a magic wand I could wave so that we'd both be more relaxed during the process." Now, even though this was something I learned from a book about working with kids, I found it works just as well for adults, right? It's just this idea that I am acknowledging it's stressful for you that I haven't found this job yet, right? In the way I phrased it in this example, it's stressful for both of us. If that's not true, if you feel no stress about it, you could simply say, "I just wish I had a magic wand I could wave so that you could feel more relaxed as I'm looking," right? Whatever way is authentic and true. Now, I know I'm not going to have things that are exactly specific to you, so it's your job to take all of these examples that I give, figure out what are the main triggers that happen for you, and practice on your own until you come up with something that acknowledges the other person and acknowledges yourself. So another thing that frequently comes up in family is painful comparisons between you and your siblings. So here's one that might come out. Your sister bought 2 expensive bottles of wine and a large ham for dinner. You came with chips and salsa as usual. Right? Ooh, it can be so triggering for us when we are compared with our siblings. But acknowledge what the other person has already acknowledged. Like, this is a way that your sister shows her love, right? So it could sound something like, yeah, I really enjoy how much my sister shows us she loves us by spending money for gifts and using her cooking skills. I'm not blessed with either of those, but I hope you can feel how I show my love by, and then again, being very authentic with whatever it is you bring to the table, right? By writing thoughtful cards, by bringing my guitar so that we can all sing together, by keeping our family laughing, by bringing new games to play. So whatever it is that you do, we all make an effort. We all have something special we do for our families. So think about what that is and practice getting ready to say something like that. Now, here's a challenge many of us face. There's one member of the family who really hogs all the airspace, right? And it's annoying. Nobody else gets to talk. So one way that I've found to work with people like that is to say something like, I'm just going to say Dad as an example. Dad, it's great hearing about all the new innovations at your work. Now I'm curious to hear about how Mom and John are doing. What about if you start, Mom? What's up with you lately? Right? It's just acknowledging Dad, hopefully getting that little bit of reinforcement that you've heard him and how innovative he's being, or whatever it is. He is wanting to hear from you. You give him that, and then you turn the floor to someone else so that they can speak. And if Dad jumps in and tries to interrupt again, you can say, hang on, Dad, we're going to get back to you, but Mom wasn't quite finished. Go ahead, Mom. And then maybe you even turn it over to somebody else before, allowing Dad to interrupt again. Now, here's an extremely challenging situation. Some of you may have a narcissistic member of your family. And how I describe narcissism is people who genuinely only believe others are there in service to their needs and wishes being met. They somehow just don't really have the ability to think that it should be even or everyone should get a chance. There are people, and this is a scale, so you may have someone who's slightly on that scale and not too bad, or extremely on that scale, and really always expecting people to be almost mind readers and giving them everything they need and want all the time. Okay? But either way, one possible way to deal with this would be to have some phone calls with other family members in advance of your gathering and have each one of them decide on something they would like to have happen during the holiday time together. Whether that's an experience of going somewhere and doing something together, whether that's playing your favorite game together, whether it's having your favorite food that you love to eat, or watching a holiday movie that really brings up good memories for you that you would like. And so each person comes prepared that shortly within getting all together, one of you will say, hey, let's make sure everybody gets to do something they want to do over this holiday period. I know I'd like to. And you say what it is. And then someone else says, oh, here's what I'd like. And you keep going around that and possibly even that, writing that down and putting that on the fridge, right? And so whoever the narcissist is also gets to put down something they want to have happen during the holiday. Then, if the narcissist tries to keep hijacking the situation to be what they want, you can go back to the list and say, look, you've already had one opportunity to have what you want. Let's make sure everybody gets a chance first. And then, if there's any remaining time, we'll get to whatever it was they just expressed that they wanted, right? So that's one way that I have found to help people who have a narcissistic family. Another thing that's super important is to never go in with expectations that you will be acknowledged by your family for what you're doing, for your talents, your gifts, your whatever it is. This is often what creates the most painful experience, is people are still stuck in trying to seek approval from their family members. So developmentally, it's kind of a good part of our evolution that as children, we want to please our parents, or if we're the younger ones, please other siblings or whatever. But we need to move past that. We need to move past expecting our family to magically see us for who we are and acknowledge us and offer us praise and loving comments. Because this is at the heart of so much pain and suffering around the holidays when you don't get this. So I find that it's very important when you go for holidays that you make sure you take some time before you're going to sleep at night or first thing in the morning where you wake up, where you really notice any kind of little achy holes in yourself that's wishing you could have something, some kind of acknowledgement or appreciation, and you allow your divine to do that for you. Allow them just to bathe you in all the different ways you would love to hear that you are seen and appreciated by your family, so that once you do get up and go out to see them, you're not this big empty hole that needs filling. You've already been filled by your divine, and you just know that anything else you get is frosting on the cake, right? You've already had cake with your divine. Now maybe your family gets to offer you some frosting. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do today is I am going to ask my beautiful team to come in and give you a transmission for feeling whole and complete as you go into your family holiday and being centered and grounded and able to respond rather than to react to whatever goes on while you are there. Remember, beautiful ones, to take us with you home for your holidays. Be in that space between heart and soul, where you are human and also the higher self, who is experiencing. This higher self cannot be damaged at all by what others say or do. And what is most important is your own opinion of yourself and your connection to us. This, above all else, is what you need. Allow us to be there with you, helping you to be in response to and not in reaction to what is going on with your family. We promise you, you are the one who has the ability to shift your family by simply remaining centered, calm, and in a state of love. This, more than anything, any word, any gift you could offer at holiday time, is the blessing that you can be for your family. We love you so. We know you can do this. Okay, so if you know others who also struggle with being home for the holidays with family members, please forward this video to them and give them an opportunity to be the shifters of their families. If you have already been doing this, found other ways to help yourself in the situation with your family, please share in the comments before ways that you have uplifted your family during holiday time. Everyone can learn from each other here, and so I really encourage you to share your wisdom. I know that you have so much of it. So thank you again for joining. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. And I wish you the most amazing holiday season. Next one will be part 2 of this, where we are looking at ways to engage with your family that create opportunities for love and appreciation of each other. So come back in a week and we will be sharing those ideas with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.